Weekers, tweakers, thrill seekers, welcome to another episode of freaking Our Week in Review. My name is freaking Taylor, the freaking Sandman freaking Lofton, and we're coming at you from freaking WAYO, LP freaking Rochester, also freaking iTunes, freaking YouTube, SoundCloud, freaking Jeez Louise, down on my freaking knees, Google freaking Play, also freaking, what's the last one called? Very popular. Doug Jordan is in the freaking studio. Doug, what's it called?
What, Spotify?
Yeah,
Spotify?
we're on freaking Doug, please. We're on freaking Spotify as well. This week we'll be talking about Kenny Rogers, the newest Batman, fast food, fashion, politics, celebrity gossip, Ashton Kutcher, murder, and much freaking more. Weekers, tweakers, thrill seekers, buckle up. This is freaking Our Week in Review. In the studio, I have to my left freaking Doug Jordan back from freaking sex fantasy vacation with sucking Sunjay's little freaking tiny shrimp. We also got via freaking satellite New York, both freaking Taddea freaking Risher from freaking Sex Dungeon, presumably, and also freaking all the way from freaking Seattle, Washington, freaking Sandy the Sandman freaking Farkas. Gentlemen, strap in. This is freaking Our Week in Review as well. Weekers, tweakers, thrill seekers, before we get into the myriad of freaking topics that we're going to be talking about today, I want to get back into how everybody on the show is freaking doing. We got a lot of freaking catching up to do. We have some freaking in-house, in-office freaking drama going on, and we want to get into that, dig right in, sink our teeth in, and see what's going on with the freaking crew here at Our Week in Review. Let's start out with freaking Doug Jordan. Doug Jordan, you just returned from a freaking sex fantasy vacation with your boyfriend Sanjay. How did it go? What did you do? And how the freak are you?
Yeah, so it wasn't really, it wasn't a sex fantasy vacation. It was just a normal vacation. It was sponsored by the freaking radio station, so we had to go to Europe. We went to Italy, and we tasted all the different foods that they had there, which were pretty great. And that's it.
You tasted all the foods that they have in freaking Italy.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but there are chain restaurants, much like here in Italy. So there's a McDonald's in Italy, there's a Burger King in Italy, there's KFC in Italy.
Doug, you were in the food capital of the world, and you went to a bunch of American fast food chains.
Well, I mean, they are American fast food chains, but overseas they are quite different than they are here.
So you tried, and you're telling me you tried all the freaking foods?
Yeah, all of the different foods that I could try. Burger King, McDonald's. I even found a freaking Pizza Hut. So we went around to various different ones, and we tried different dishes from each and every one.
Doug, did you not go to one Italian bistro while you were in Italy?
Well, I just said there was a Pizza Hut, so we went to a Pizza Hut. We had the pizza there.
Oh my god.
So you traveled all the way to freaking Italy to get a bunch of freaking fast food and not have freaking sex with Sanjay. Is that what you're freaking saying?
Well, yeah, no, we didn't have sex, and we have. I mean, I'm telling you, it's different over there than it is here. There's a different quality of food. There's entirely different dishes that you wouldn't find on the menu here.
Wait a minute. You didn't have sex with them. So what is the problem? You having a freaking herpes outbreak, or why didn't you freaking do it? Why didn't you have sex with your own freaking boyfriend?
Yeah, are you guys having freaking premarital freaking problems? Is your peenie a little worse for the freaking wear? Did it get so much action on the freaking plane ride over that it was sore and freaking raw, and you couldn't freaking insert it into freaking Sanjay's freaking asshole?
Yeah, no, like I've said before several times, he's just my friend and co-host on my show, Doug Knows Best, and there is nothing sexual going on between us.
So you had a great time with Sanjay, having sex with him, tasting his tiny shrimp, licking his tiny freaking balls of shrimp, and I'm actually really freaking glad to have you back because I am freaking low on groceries and I need to get out to a freaking supermarket. Let's see. Why don't we jump ahead to freaking Taddea freaking Michael freaking Risher, also known as freaking Taddea Risher. Taddea Risher has a freaking bone to pick with you, Doug, and we want updates on how his cancer is doing for weakers and tweakers out there. We know he has been diagnosed terminally ill with freaking cancer. Mm-hmm. And he's got a bone to pick with Doug. So let's jump right into it. Caution to the freaking wind, as they freaking say, and go ahead, Taddea freaking Risher.
Yeah, Doug, welcome back from Italy. Very glad you're back because now I can tell you in person, right to your face, to put up your freaking dukes because I have a bone to pick with you. As many Uyghurs and Tweakers know, I went to a local sex dungeon because a mistress there claimed to have the cure for cancer for a price, a very steep price, and I was counting on the money that you had promised me a couple weeks ago, Doug, to get me through that treatment, and I didn't get it. I got kicked out of the freaking sex dungeon. I'm living under the overpass right now. I've nowhere to go, and honestly, the stress of it all has caused my freaking cancer to flare up, and I think it's all your fault.
I didn't know that. First of all, you don't have freaking cancer. You've been lying about it this whole freaking time. And second of all, I never said I was going to give you a freaking cent of my money because you don't have freaking cancer and you just been lying to try to get back with your ex-girlfriend.
You know what? I implore Uyghurs and Tweakers to check the tape. A couple of weeks ago when you promised me several $1,000s of funds to help me cure my lung and penis cancer.
Well, we need somebody to freaking check the tape. Can we get somebody to? Get somebody to check the freaking tape.
Yeah, Uyghurs, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, we are looking for help with the freaking show in terms of, believe it or not, yeah, you guessed it, freaking tape checking. We have hours and hours of freaking tapes that we need checking to basically to get flubs by freaking Doug Jordan. So any Uyghur and Tweaker out there, if you can call 513-914-6201, that's the Our Week freaking hotline. I will put you in contact with these freaking tapes, and you can sift through hours of them, collect any goofs, gaffes, hilarious freaking sex references to having sex with freaking Sanjay. That way we can play them live on the freaking air and put Doug on the blast that he deserves to be on. Doug, I'm so freaking glad to have you freaking back. Now, Taddea freaking Michael Richards is living under a freaking overpass. He is not doing well because he can't have his sex dungeon therapy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you freaking guessed it. His freaking cancer has flared right up.
Yeah, it's a huge flare-up of cancer right now. And Doug, if this recent cancer flare-up does in fact kill me, which it almost assuredly will do, I will see you in court.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you'll be if it killed you, you'd be dead, and then I wouldn't see you in court because you'd.
Well, no,
dead.
my estate. Yeah, I'll sue. First of all, I'll see you in hell, but in real life, you'll be going through hell when my estate sues you.
Do you even have an estate? Because it sounds like you're living under an overpass.
No, my estate, like the estate of New York.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's a freaking really good freaking point. So, Doug, maybe start freaking lawyering up because guess what? Yeah, boom. Here comes the freaking boom, starring freaking the fat guy from freaking hilarious freaking TV show, King of Queens.
Paul Blart, freaking Malfart.
Yeah,
hilarious freaking movie.
Yeah, and for Uyghurs and Tweakers out there who are not familiar with freaking Paul Blart and his Malfart, geez Louise, down on my freaking knees. It's a hilarious freaking movie about a big fat guy who is trying to get into the NYPD, but you know, yep, you guessed it, he's too fat, so he just hangs out at a freaking mall food court and farts a lot. It's rated freaking X for hilarious fat farts and scenes of freaking sexual gratuity, and I can't tell you to go see it, but if you can get a copy of the freaking VHS, I highly freaking recommend it. So.
Doug, I will be suing you faster than Malfart, Doug.
Yeah.
Be ready.
Put up your freaking dukes.
Yeah, strong blows the wind, Doug. Sandy the Sandman freaking Farkas. Geez Louise, down on my knees. How was your week? What have you been up to? And what's freaking going on?
Well, strong blows the wind, as they say. As I always say. Basically, what's all right. So here's the freaking thing. I'm sorry, I'm freaking drunk. So the thing about it is, all right. So I've been freaking having sex with a freaking shit. I've been living with freaking 4 roommates. Bucky, Joe. And there's 2 other guys. And I gotta tell you, I'm starting to think these guys don't freaking like me one bit. I get home freaking drunk every single freaking night, and and they're all having a little family game night, and I come in and I think I'm gonna be the freaking life of the party, and they just, and I think I'm getting the feeling they freaking hate me.
So, for weakers and tweakers out there who are interested, what are the ages of your roommates? Are they young guys, old guys, a little mixture of both? And tell us a little bit of the demographic. Are they freaking white? Are they freaking African American? Are they freaking Chinese or Asian American?
Yeah. There's a freaking Chinese one. There's three that I think are in their 20s. One of them is freaking Chinese. Two of them are freaking white. And then there's another one, freaking Dave. He's my freaking favorite. He's a little bit closer to my freaking age, but he's a recovering freaking alcoholic, and we don't freaking get along very well. But he's probably, I think he's probably my freaking favorite.
I mean, have you offered him something to drink, maybe to, sort of break the ice between the two of you, to get down to the freaking nitty freaking gritty, as they freaking say?
Well, I'm not one to freaking share my freaking brown with anyone, so I would never offer anybody a freaking drink.
Yeah.
But I do say, because I live in a freaking basement, and I'll shout up to him. I go, Dave, come on down here and keep me company while I freaking drink, which he doesn't want to freaking do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's freaking hilarious. My advice, if you have any extra freaking brown, mix it up into one of his freaking drinks and say, Dave, let's say he drinks freaking iced tea. You go, Dave, I got you a freaking iced tea. Wanted to sit down and freaking talk to you and watch what freaking happens. He will freaking loosen right freaking up. He will be loose as a freaking goose and ready to freaking ramble, as they freaking say. Lord, I am a freaking rambling man, is what he'll freaking say. So. Weakers.
Strong blows the wind.
Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, we have a freaking great show ahead of us. But before we get into that, I want to say a little something about my freaking week. For weakers and tweakers who tuned in last week, I told a story about my cat Donovan 2, who I shaved his mustache into a freaking Hitler mustache. And yes, I have also been dressing as a freaking war veteran because I found a freaking war veterans, probably a dead war veterans, let's be honest, old uniform at a Goodwill, and I have been wearing this freaking uniform for quite some time now. I'm very freaking comfortable in it. It is like part of my own freaking skin. I am actually freaking wearing it right now. What I wanted to say about freaking Donovan 2, because I know I told everybody about him, and everybody's waiting to see the next freaking picture of him that I post online of him with his hilarious freaking Hitler mustache. Well, we had a freaking problem last week. Since shaving my freaking cat, all but his freaking mustache, geez Louise, down on my knees, his freaking skin has broken out into a serious freaking rash. And it probably has something to do with the upkeep that you have to do because, geez Louise, you can't freaking shave a cat once and expect its hair not to freaking grow back. You got to keep shaving it every freaking day. Mm-hmm. I decided I needed to bring him to the freaking vet, bring Donovan to the freaking vet to have him check it up on this freaking rash that has broken out all over his freaking skin. And so I put on my freaking Army officer's freaking uniform and strolled in with my freaking hilarious-looking Hitler cat with a dyed black mustache right in the middle of his freaking lip. And geez Louise, down on my knees, they freaking took Donovan away from me. They said I couldn't freaking have him. They said I wasn't fit. And they said they were going to call freaking animal freaking services on me. And I don't know what to do now because I only got one other cat and and the other one is much furrier and it would take much longer time to freaking shave that one. Got longer freaking hair. It's got freaking Maine Coon is the other one. They're both freaking Maine Coons and one of them just is a tiny white Maine Coon that looks nothing like a normal Maine Coon. The other one is a freaking regular looking giant freaking Maine Coon that doesn't have a freaking Hitler mustache yet. Mm-hmm. And they didn't even freaking thank me for my freaking service, which is what honestly freaking most upset me other than getting my cat taken away from me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess you could take solace in the fact that cat that got taken away was actually never yours.
Well, for one thing, he is my freaking cat, and I'm going to get him freaking back. For weakers and tweakers out there, Loftons don't often lose. In fact, Loftons never freaking lose. except the freaking time that I got kicked out of that freaking sex fantasy cult that I was in. Also, the time that I was kicked out of the freaking of my freaking girlfriend's house and lived in her garage, and then got kicked out of the garage.
You also got fired from the freaking soup kitchen, and you got fired from the freaking dump, and you've been caught going to the bathroom in freaking urinals. You've been kicked out of numerous restaurants. You've been kicked out of TGI Fridays. You've been kicked out of freaking a myriad of different freaking buffets. You've lost just about every single job you've ever had. You got kicked out of freaking high school a couple of times. You've gotten kicked out of freaking parties but no, Loftons freaking never lose. That's the thing about them.
I've gotten invited to parties that actually weren't really freaking parties, and there was nobody there, and I got tricked into eating almost a freaking half pound of freaking mushrooms one time, and I'm still freaking tripping today. Loftons don't like to take what kids refer to as a freaking L, and so I will get my freaking Hitler mustache cap back, which is absolutely freaking hilarious. You got to freaking see it, because that's my ticket to freaking online internet freaking fame. I want to break out of freaking radio and freaking podcast fame, get into the freaking become a freaking internet freaking influencer, just like freaking Grumpy Cat, who's freaking dead now. He's a freaking dead cat. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, we have a great freaking show. We need to get into one thing. We got an Our Week hotline call, and we want to play it for you on the freaking air, live on the freaking air right now, as we say we would, as we always say we freaking do, even though nobody ever freaking calls in. So, weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, buckle up. This is a call from, you guessed it, freaking Stu Gotts.
Jeez Louise, Taylor, Stu freaking Gotts. What a lame voice message.
Okay, so Stu Gotts calling in said I have a freaking lame freaking voice message. That is actually not me on the freaking air, on the freaking voice message.
I was like, who the heck is this guy? And then the more I listened to it, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not freaking Taylor.
See, I freaking told you it's not freaking me. Yeah.
Taylor. Anyways, hey guys, Stu Gotts, how's it going? I was out walking my pig this afternoon, and I was thinking about you guys. I gotta call the guy.
Wait a minute. For Weakers and Tweakers, I think you may have heard correctly. Stu Gotts just said he's out walking a freaking pig. Now, I'm all for owning, and I'm sure Doug Jordan is all for owning all sorts of freaking farm animals that you can walk with, have sex with, off, that sort of thing. Eat the freaking fluid that comes after you freaking it off. But I never imagined freaking Stu Gotts as having a freaking pig. Sandy, you have hung out with Stu Gotts. Has he ever mentioned having a freaking pig?
He might have, but not to the best of my freaking. Not that I freaking recall. We've talked about a lot of stuff, and that doesn't ring a freaking bell.
Yeah. Well.
And then these two neighbors kept looking at me, laughing at me. This one guy goes, "Take it on legs! Take it on legs!" Another kid's yelling, "Pig man!" And I'm like, blow on! You can blow me. You walk a dog, you can walk a pig. Am I right? Jeez Louise. Down on my freaking knees. I'm so excited. I'm calling.
Okay, so for Weakers and Tweakers out there, those of you who haven't been called freaking Pigman before, it never feels freaking good. But yeah, you guessed it. Eventually, you do get freaking used to it. Now, I've never walked a pig, but I have been called a freaking pigman on the bus, at school, at restaurants, while grocery shopping, while going to a freaking laundromat, while going to a clothing store, while walking through the freaking mall, while walking up and down the freaking streets of Rochester, freaking New York, while walking to the freaking airport, while being in the freaking airport, while being in a parking garage, while being at a freaking convenience store, while being at even at a freaking coffee shop, which I rarely freaking go to because I don't freaking drink coffee. I have been called Pigman many a freaking time, and you'll freaking get used to it. So onward.
So I got a couple things. First, is there an events list for Shrimp Cocktail Revival? I am dying to go. I freaking love shrimp. So if there's a Shrimp Cocktail Revival events list, you guys talk a lot about it. I just haven't seen any concrete information. Please pass on some more information.
Doug Jordan, I'm going to forward that question to you. The shrimp cocktail revival, what is going on? Because I asked you earlier about it, and you refused to freaking say anything, which leads me to believe that you screwed something up in that department.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
Doug, what are the freaking dates? Because I'm trying to freaking organize a freaking return trip. I'm 1 minute away from pressing clicking the mouse on booking a freaking flight, but I don't know where the freaking dates are. I mean, you're not exactly a freaking well of information these days.
well, I mean, again, I was gone for 2 weeks. 3 weeks. I missed the show 3 weeks. And I tried to talk about it earlier, but you just changed the subject immediately. But right now I'll tell you that it's starting today, Monday. This is gonna air on tomorrow, so it's starting yesterday for people that are listening now.
Yeah, what's the date, though? He asked you what the freaking date was.
The day is tomorrow. Well, the date's today, which is I don't know.
Wait a minute. Today is not a freaking date. Today is a
Doug, what are
day.
you doing?
It's May 3rd, which is today.
It's June 3rd,
It's
Doug.
June.
It's
Well,
June 3rd.
I was gone for so long. It was a different time zone.
Okay,
Yeah,
weakers,
well,
tweakers.
it's still June in Italy, Doug.
No, I'm pretty sure they're 7
Wait,
days behind.
Doug, I got a couple of freaking bones to pick for a moment. First of all, what are the freaking venues? Where is the freaking festival? Where's the freaking party? Also, would have loved to have this information before freaking today.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'm going to be able to freaking make it back.
Yeah. And also, here's the thing. Sandy, Weakers, Tweakers, Taddea, Doug Jordan's mind is obviously rattled by the numerous amounts of sexual activity, the numerous amounts of freaking sexual encounters he has had with, yep, you guessed it, his freaking boyfriend, freaking Sanjay. Now, nobody can freaking blame you for wanting to squeeze that nice little tight piece of body that he's got on him. But, geez Louise, down on my knees, you got to stay focused in this game. This is a freaking radio, and this is a freaking you got a freaking show to think about. You also got you made promises to the freaking Rochester Cocktail freaking revival, and I don't want to freaking lecture you here, but you fucked up big time.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't really, because it's still going on. It's still, I just didn't. You guys are the only 3 guys that don't know about it, and I guess Stu got, so that's 4 people.
Oh yeah, Stu Gotts. Let's see what else he had to say. That was a good freaking segue.
Lastly, Jesus Louise, down on my freaking knees. Last night I was watching Schitt's Creek with Don. I was wondering, do you guys still do sight unseen? I haven't heard any sight unseen. I love sight unseen. Well, Don's got me running errands like a freaking Keebler elf over here, so I gotta go. So, Taylor, you freaking rule. Doug, go suck a Sanjay. The other 2, you guys can suck it. Anyway, Stu freaking God. See you guys.
Sounds like freaking Stu's freaking drinking again.
It does sound like freaking Stu's drinking again. Also, he said he was watching the show, and I don't think you can say it on the air, but I'm going to anyway. It's called freaking Schitt's Creek. So he was watching Schitt's Creek with someone named freaking John. Did I just...
Yeah, I don't freaking know what that... Don't know what that freaking means.
Is that a freaking roommate, or... And then he said John had him going to the freaking grocery store. Is he going to the grocery store for a freaking roommate, or...
Maybe it's his friend. Maybe it's his lover.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's not...
Doug, just because someone's working or living with someone doesn't mean that they're lovers.
Yeah, that just because 2 guys spend a lot of freaking time together does not mean that they're having gay freaking sexual activity with each other, sucking each other's and freaking little tiny beanies, if you know what I mean.
So what did you just say exactly?
I have no idea what I just said.
So you said if 2 guys spend a lot of time together, it doesn't mean that they're each other's little peenies and weenies, right?
Is that what I freaking said? I don't. I mean, that sounds right, but I don't remember saying any of that.
Yeah, I heard freaking little beanies for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I tuned in for.
What's your point, Doug?
Do you need me to spell it out for you?
Yes.
Basically, every time that I'm here, you accuse me of having sexual relations with my co-host and very good friend Sanjay.
And your freaking boyfriend.
No, he's not my freaking boyfriend. Then just a second ago, because you heard Stu Gotts is maybe has a lover or a potential best friend, all of a sudden, it's no big deal if 2 guys just spend a lot of time together and they're just freaking friends.
Well, thanks for spelling that out, Doug. It's freaking obvious.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it is no big freaking deal. He's just hanging out with his friend John watching Schitt's Creek, which is a show about freaking lots of freaking awesome freaking gay sex. I'm not really sure.
You got to dust the cobwebs off, Doug. Get back in the game here, bud. You're back in America. You're on the radio now.
Yeah.
You can't just freaking say whatever you want, freaking willy-nilly like that, Doug.
This isn't the freaking.
There are freaking consequences in the freaking land of freedom, Doug.
Yeah, this is the freaking land of the freaking industrial freaking complex, Doug freaking Jordan. It's not the freaking land of freaking spaghetti, meatball, and nothing freaking else. So, welcome freaking back. This is probably a freaking eye-opening episode for you, and I don't know. Maybe you need to clean the freaking cobwebs out between your ears. I can't really tell you. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, we are moving on to freaking our week's news and discussins. So we're just going to blast off in it because we got a great freaking show ahead for you. Last week, Kenny Rogers representatives slammed news media for spreading misinformation about after the country music veteran was reportedly hospitalized for dehydration, according to Page 6. The 80-year-old singer's reps released a statement to social media confirming Rogers has been hospitalized, but they assured any other media speculation was misinformation. So freaking Kenny Rogers, first of all, I don't understand how freaking Kenny Rogers knows what's going on with him. The guy's freaking dehydrated, and he might and geez Louise, down on my knees, he might be freaking dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's your favorite freaking Kenny Rogers song, Doug Jordan?
I don't know. I don't know any Kenny Rogers songs.
Jeez, Doug.
He wrote.
This is freaking Kenny Rogers we're freaking talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, freaking Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, but I know Roy Rogers. I know that, the burger place.
Yeah, that's true. That they got good burgers there, or
Yeah, great burgers.
what kind?
Did you go to one in Italy?
No, they didn't have one. That's strictly an American chain, is the Roy Rogers.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I like? He did the freaking song from freaking Caddyshack with the little fat little gopher dances too. That's in my opinion, that's the freaking funniest thing that's ever been in a freaking movie.
Yeah, there's Caddy for Weakers and Tweakers out there who haven't seen freaking Caddyshack. It's a freaking must see. It's one of those movies that you watch and you go, I don't know why any of this stuff is freaking funny at all. And you go, but all I know is that it's freaking hilarious. And when basically freaking Bill Murray plays a freaking who's a freaking gardener, and geez Louise, down on my knees, it's absolutely freaking hilarious. He's basically getting bamboozled the entire time by a freaking gopher that's trying to have freaking sex with him, and at the end of the movie he freaking does, and they freaking show it all on there, and that's my favorite freaking part. It's freaking hilarious.
I like Rodney Dangerfield in the movie. He's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, Rodney Dangerfield is freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a freaking hilarious Rodney Dangerfield joke. He goes, what? Let me see. He says, what's the freaking matter with me? And then, what is it? I don't get, nobody gives me, nobody expects anything from freaking me. That's freaking hilarious. So Kenny Rogers, anybody have any views? Anybody want to say any freaking goodbyes to freaking Kenny Rogers before?
Yeah, excuse me. To be quite honest, I freaking hope he freaking dies.
Do you care to freaking explain?
Nope.
Okay.
I just hope he freaking dies. 80 years old is a hell of a freaking life. I hope he's freaking dead. God, geez Louise, freaking down on my knees. Kenny Rogers, I hope you freaking die.
Yeah, for Weakers and Tweakers and for the panel here, anybody out there know what is the cure for freaking dehydration? Is there a cure? Have they ever found one? And if they have, what steps should freaking Kenny Rogers take toward fixing himself?
Doc.
Are you kidding me? You just drink water. All you gotta do is drink water. That's the cure to freaking dehydration.
I don't think that Kenny... I think that the team of medical experts working with Kenny Rogers would have clearly had him drink freaking water to avoid dehydration. Taddea Risher, you are the one closest to death, nearest to the end, the one also spending the most time basically dealing with medical professionals at the sex dungeon, now underneath the bridge. What is going on and what can he do to try and save his life?
I mean, the best I can recommend is going to a sex dungeon, as you mentioned. I know a great one with a really good medical professional in there, smoking a lot of weed and just praying for the best, honestly.
Yeah. What do they do for people who are suffering from this rare disease called dehydration at a sex dungeon? What do they give people? How do they freaking help them?
Well, I don't want to get too graphic. We are on the radio, but it involves a lot of a little f***ing, and a lot of kisses in places like your butthole.
Nice. Very nice.
So I mean, so what do they do? Like freaking or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, they blow. Yeah, they blow you.
Well, now let me ask you this: are there water sports going on at the freaking sex dungeon? And for weakers and tweakers that don't know what water sports are, that's when you freaking pee on someone, usually in their face or in their freaking mouth.
Yeah, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, there's only a singular toilet in the sex dungeon, and it's in the center of the room. So a lot of people are kind of forced to go into water games, and they actually have separate corners specifically for the water games. And if you don't want to be involved, you should get the heck out of the sex dungeon.
Yeah. Well, so Kenny Rogers.
I actually have one follow-up question. Were you ever freaking going to the bathroom? And I'm talking about number 2 in the freaking toilet, and somebody was freaking peeing on you while you were taking number 2.
Sure, it would happen every time. It's so crowded, and so many people having to go to the bathroom simultaneously. It was unavoidable.
Yeah.
All right. No further questions.
Thank you.
All right. Last week, news spread that Robert Pattinson will replace Ben Affleck as Batman, narrowly beating fellow Brit Nicholas Hoult for the role, according to Cheat Sheet. The trend to cast British actors in American comic book superhero roles, which began when Tom Holland was cast as Marvel's Spider-Man in 2015, has caused some super fans to question studios' decision-making. So now we got a freaking British guy. Next thing you know, now we got a freaking British Batman. Next thing you know, we're going to have a freaking British guy in the freaking White House. So, geez Louise, down on my knees. It's freaking absolutely freaking terrible. First of all, here's my freaking problem. One of my favorite freaking movies is The freaking Sorcerer's Stone. And geez Louise, down on my freaking knees. In the movie The freaking Sorcerer's Stone... Harry Potter and freaking Hermione and freaking Samwise Gamgee are all played by freaking British people, and not a single freaking American was allowed in that freaking movie, and that was freaking fine, right? And then they make freaking James Bond, and James Bond is always a freaking British guy, and it's got to be 100% freaking British or freaking else. And now we're letting the freaking Brits take over freaking superhero freaking movies that were all written in freaking comic books made in freaking America. It's freaking disgusting.
Yeah.
Got to build it.
I just feel bad about freaking Ben Affleck.
Yeah. Well,
He's gonna freaking off himself pretty soon.
Here's the thing about freaking Ben Affleck for weakers and tweakers out there who don't know or don't have the freaking scoop. Ben Affleck's been going through some freaking hard times. Recently, about a year ago, he was photographed taking a quick stop at a freaking In-N-Out burger, I think it was, a Jack in the Box burger rather. And while he was on his way to a freaking rehab center.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
I freaking said Jack in the Box and mixed it up with freaking In-N-Out burger. Maybe tell me the difference.
Well, it's common to mix those two up because they're both Western United States chains. So I mean, it would make sense that you would make that mistake.
Yeah, Ben Affleck, geez Louise, down on my freaking knees. I'm so sorry that you lost your freaking role as freaking Batman, and maybe I'd love to see you in some other freaking full leather freaking suit, maybe with a freaking ball gag in your mouth and zipper at your freaking rear end that has a padlock on it. So maybe some sort of mistress will only allow you to fecalate at certain times of the freaking day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for him too. But when you start to balloon like that, like he was eating Jack in the Box every day, you start to get the size of Jonah Hill. You're gonna get your Batman suit taken away.
Yeah, imagine freaking Jonah Hill, fattest guy in the freaking world, Jonah Hill, dressed as freaking Batman, stretching that suit to its absolute freaking limits, with that freaking cape, and he's freaking jumping off of freaking buildings, essentially using a freaking crane instead of that freaking grappling hook he has, and then the crane's still freaking tipping over. Just to see freaking fat freaking Jonah Hill jumping off of a super tall building would be the most hilarious freaking thing. It'd be the most freaking hilarious freaking thing I could ever freaking think about. So, Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, if maybe we could start a freaking petition to get freaking fat Jonah Hill in a freaking Batman uniform. I hope they make it out of freaking some sort of spandex or some sort of rubber so it doesn't tear when he's putting it on. And they're going to need a lot of freaking fabric. So, it'd be hilarious. Maybe a Spider-Man. Imagine the web. Imagine the strength of the web. And you know what? If he played freaking Spider-Man, if freaking Jonah Hill played freaking Spider-Man, I think that it should be more true to the way a real spider is and have the freaking web come out of his rear.
How is that more true to life?
Because a real freaking spider has the web comes out, of its freaking ass.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, then, yeah, I'd love to see web come out of freaking Jonah Hill's ass.
Imagine if he was freaking Superman and people would be down on the freaking sidewalk going, "No, it's a bird, it's a plane," and they go, "It looks like it's a freaking whale in the sky. What the hell is going on?" It's just freaking Jonah Hill.
Just Jonah freaking Hill flying around, defying freaking all gravity and logic. And I would say, honestly, you know what I would think it was? I would think it was a freaking comet heading straight for Earth.
Yeah. Look, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's
a freaking comet coming to destroy us all.
It's 3 freaking whales, all flying next to each other.
Last week, Burger King unveiled 2 new additions to their lineup, according to Delish. For a limited time at participating locations, BK fans can now get mozzarella sticks from the fast food giant. The order will include 4 melted cheese logs coated in an Italian seasoned breading, fried crispy until golden browned and served hot, according to the company's website. The package also includes marinara sauce for dipping. Along with the recently unveiled BK Twix milkshake, the company will now serve the French toast sandwich, which consists of 2 slices of French toast, egg, cheese, and sausage patty. The company released an image of the sandwich on Instagram with the caption, "Sweet or savory for breakfast? We solve the biggest morning question with a sandwich." So, obviously, why don't we just go over to the freaking sports desk, Doug? Geez Louise, down on my knees. Tell us how you feel. What do you feel? What's your first knee-jerk reaction? Did you know about this news, or are you first hearing it now?
Well, first of all, mozzarella sticks were at Burger King for quite a long time. For several years, in fact, and then they freaking took them away. And then they actually brought them back about a freaking year ago. So this isn't even freaking brand new news. They've had freaking mozzarella sticks back on the menu for about a year now.
Well, what about the freaking French toast sandwich?
It sounds like a good freaking breakfast sandwich.
What if they put a freaking cheese stick in the middle? What would that do?
I mean, we would just add more cheese to the sandwich.
What if they put all 4 of them and then they put the marinara sauce on it? Would a marinara sauce and a freaking French toast taste good? A little Italy mixed with a little freaking French and geez Louise, down on my knees, you got a French Italian, right?
Yeah, but that sounds like a good freaking sandwich.
Did you have any good freaking mozz sticks in freaking Italy?
No, they didn't have the mozzarella sticks at Burger King in Italy. Surprisingly enough.
Yeah, that's freaking crazy. That's the most crazy thing I've ever heard of. You know what? And I want to go back to the ending of that story. They say sweet and savory for breakfast. We solved the biggest morning question with a sandwich. The real biggest morning question, and Weakers and Tweakers out there, I'm sure freaking know this. It's freaking how to get rid of my freaking morning freaking wood. And for Weakers and Tweakers out there, maybe the female audience, maybe some of the male audience, and maybe some of the third category of human being that is totally undefinable, but totally supported by this freaking program and all programs on WAYO LP freaking Rochester. If you don't know what freaking morning wood is, it's when you get a freaking huge freaking stiff in the morning. You can't even roll over. It's like a freaking log coming out of the front of your freaking jeans or your freaking underwear. You go to pee, nothing comes out, or if it does, it sprays right in your face, in your freaking open mouth, and you freaking drink it. And then, geez Louise, down on my knees, and this is the question, what best way to get rid of freaking morning wood? Because the only way to freaking urinate is after you freaking, is either to do it in your face or to freaking completely and totally freaking ejaculate first. So, I want to send this around to the panel. Let's start with freaking Sandy the Sandman Farkas. What do you do to get rid of your freaking morning freaking wood?
When I wake up and I'm faced with a freaking morning freaking, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, geez Louise, down on my freaking knees, what the heck am I gonna do? And I freaking almost always freaking play with myself until I get a freaking to come out of my freaking and then I can pee wherever the hell I
want. Like your freaking toilet or
toilet, freaking shower, freaking bathroom floor, freaking bedroom floor, really freaking anywhere.
Yeah.
Pile of freaking clothes. It all depends on how much I want to move. Sometimes I just roll over and just sort of flop my off of my freaking mattress and just freaking pee right there on the side of the freaking bed.
One time my freaking imaginary brother freaking peed in my mouth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Wiggers and Twiggers, we all know what that freaking means, right?
Yeah. It was freaking hilarious. Taddea freaking Risher, you recently lived in a sex dungeon. When you wake up in the freaking morning with freaking morning stiffy, geez Louise, down on my knees, what do you freaking do?
Well, I mean, when I was living in the sex dungeon, I just had somebody there to take care of it for me, if you know what I mean. But, any other day, what I would do to try and maybe prevent it in the morning was the night before, I would complete myself 7 to 8 times right before I go to sleep. And hopefully that would just, the carryover and the soreness on my would just carry over the next day. You know what? I'd say it would only work about 30% of the time. So, you just, you work through it again in the morning and then pee wherever you want.
Yeah. Now, Doug Jordan, I'm sure when you're with your freaking wife, as busty and beautiful as she is, geez Louise, down on my knees, they're down to her freaking knees. I'm sure you don't wake up with but when you are staying in a hotel room with Sanjay, yep, you freaking guessed it, in the far reaches of the freaking world, like Italy's, in a sexual country like freaking Italy, what do you do to get rid of your freaking morning freaking wood?
So usually I would wake up and get out of bed, and by the time I got out of bed, it would go away.
Yeah. Now, is it true that if you put a candle in your rear end and light it, the hot wax will make the erection go away, and have you used that tactic?
Doug?
Yeah, I've never heard of that one before. Maybe, Taddea, have you found anything out in the sex dungeon about the candle up your butt and with the hot wax?
It never gets that weird, Doug.
Really, because it sounds like it's pretty freaking weird. There's one toilet in the middle of the freaking room, and there's a guy freaking pooping, and then a bunch of guys come and freaking pee on you when you're freaking pooping. So that sounds pretty freaking weird to me.
You know what, Doug? I mean, to each their own. Maybe if I had stayed in there longer, yeah, maybe somebody would have put a candle up my asshole, but I got kicked out because you wouldn't pay me my money.
Yeah. Yeah. See what you lost, freaking Taddea, Doug? See what you did to him?
Now my cancer's flaring up. I got it.
He could have had a freaking candle in his
and now he's gonna freaking die.
Yeah. Now he's got it. Now his cancer's flared right up. Last week, Martin Scorsese's daughter, Catherine Scorsese, pulled the plug on her $30,000 GoFundMe campaign to raise money to fix her flooded Brooklyn apartment, according to Page Six. Scorsese's Williamsburg's residence was severely damaged after a flood from the upstairs neighbor's toilet resulted in a showering of water and raw sewage. The GoFundMe profile was established by Scorsese to pay for repairs, relocation costs, and boarding fees for 5 of her 8 pets. The campaign only garnered $6,110 before Scorsese shut the donations down due to heavy scrutiny from clued-in media personnel. So I'm a big freaking fan of Gary Sinise. So I loved him when he played freaking. I loved him when he was in when he played freaking Lieutenant Dan in the movie that starred freaking. The freaking dumbest guy ever, freaking Tom Hanks as magical, whimsical, freaking slow gentleman, adult, mentally challenged guy, lawnmower man, basically a guy who mowed lawns and fisherman.
Freaking Lawnmower Man is just about the freaking funniest movie that's ever been freaking made.
Yeah.
And freaking Tom Hanks is freaking hilarious in it, and I especially like when freaking Lawnmower Man when Jenny touches Lawnmower Man on his leg and he freaking gumps off onto her freaking towel.
Yeah.
Sorry, I freaking ruined my freaking clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, spoiler alert, the clothes get ruined. And also, spoiler alert, Jenny later dies of, I'm pretty sure it's HIV, so. Doug Jordan, what's your favorite freaking Gary Sinise, Martin Scorsese's freaking movie? What's your favorite of his? What did he do? What did he do? Tell me what he did.
Yeah, like Goodfellas was a good movie.
Yeah,
Gary Sinise isn't in that, Doug.
He's not in that.
Yeah, but it's not about Gary Sinise. It's about freaking Martin Scorsese.
I like that freaking Gary Sinise starred opposite a freaking dumbass 2 times, because he's also in freaking Mice and Freaking Men, where he freaking blows the head off his own freaking dumbass brother and basically freaking scatters his freaking brains all over the freaking floor, and then he freaking dances on top of his freaking corpse.
Yeah.
He says, I guess this means I freaking won. And he blows off his brother's freaking head with a double barrel shotgun.
Yeah.
Freaking hilarious. Freaking funniest scene in any freaking movie ever.
Yeah, but he shoots him in the head. He says, Lenny, the big freaking dumb ass piece of he is obsessed with freaking having sex with freaking rabbits. Doug, I think if you haven't seen it, I just piqued your freaking interest. So geez Louise, down on my knees, he gets tricked by freaking Martin Sinise, Gary Sinise, and Gary Sinise then shoots him in the back of the head with, you guessed it, a freaking double barrel shotgun. Brains go every freaking where. And that's the funny thing is there's not that much freaking brains in there. It's mostly just empty space because geez Louise, he's a freaking dumb guy, big dumb guy, small brain.
Yeah, freaking hilarious movie. Can't tell you to go see it, but if you can't find a freaking tape VHS, put it in a freaking VCR.
Yep. Last week, fashion news media announced that the loincloth bikini trend sweeping across beaches in preparation for the summer of 2019, according to The Sun. Social media influencers and A-list celebrities have been donning the prehistoric garb in an attempt to influence 2019 beachwear fashion. Inspired by historical figures like Tarzan and Jesus, the loincloth features a single piece of fabric hanging from a string, leaving little for the imagination. So I just want to go ahead and say this. First of all, I have experience with freaking loincloths. When I was a kid, and we touched on this, I think in the last episode, maybe 2 episodes ago, we touched on we touched on the fact that I thought when I was a kid I found a freaking caveman, and it turned out it was just a very cold freaking homeless person. I thought I found a frozen freaking caveman, and I brought him home, and I kept him in my freaking garage. And while he was freaking sleeping that first night, because I knew my parents wouldn't freaking believe me that I found a freaking caveman, I stripped him totally freaking nude, and I got one of my freaking old diapers, and actually they were one of my current diapers, and I cut him up a little bit and wrapped him in a freaking loincloth. And it was freaking hilarious. And he was very confused when he freaking woke up from his thaw. It was freaking hilarious.
So all right. So at this point in your freaking life, you're aware that it was just a freaking cold bum. So you just decided to relay a story on the radio for the freaking world to hear, where you freaking lured a bum into your garage and while he was sleeping, you made him get freaking naked and you put your own freaking poopy diaper on him.
Well, here's the thing, is that at that point in my life, you would be hard-pressed to find a clean diaper.
What? Yeah. What is that?
And geez Louise, down on my knees, if you put this guy in a freaking beach, I am not sure that it would be exactly the sexy summer fun look that these freaking fashion icons are freaking looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and give one thumb down, one thumb up, split the difference, Sandy Farkas style, and say I'm down right down the middle with the loincloth. If great for freaking homeless people disguised as freaking icemen from futures past, and geez Louise, down on my knees. And that's a freaking hilarious situation. And if we could get more homeless people in freaking beach communities and freaking loincloths, yeah, you guessed it would be a freaking hilarious riot. And I bet they'd get a lot more freaking money with their butt cheeks and stuff like that showing. It'd be hilarious.
Doug?
But I was gonna say I really like the movie Encino Man, which kind of sounds like what you were describing earlier.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah, that's how it actually all came up.
Doug, lots of stuff happened when you were gone. The freaking sucking Sunjay's freaking in freaking Italy, so she's freaking. Why don't you freaking zip it, all right?
You know, all right, whatever. Yeah, if this is gonna be the way you guys are gonna freaking treat me, I should never came freaking back.
Well, Doug, I mean, it had nothing to do with the story, so maybe just, you know.
What do you mean it had nothing to
cobwebs
do with
out
the
of your
freaking
head.
story? What do you mean it had nothing? It had everything to do with the freaking story. It's talking about how he took a freaking homeless man home in his freaking garage and he thought he was freaking cold and dead, and then he freaking stripped him down and freaking put a poopy diaper on him.
Yeah, Doug, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sounds
It
a
has
lot
nothing
like
to do with the
freaking
article
Brendan
from the
Fraser.
Sun.
Yeah, it's we did a whole thing on freaking Brendan Fraser, so it's over. All right, Doug. Maybe you should read the show notes before jumping on air. So
Get the cobwebs out of your ears, Doug.
yeah, that's the truth, and the peanut butter too, and the freaking and Sanjay's freaking enormous loads out of your freaking ear. Last week, news broke that Ashton Kutcher will testify in the trial of suspected serial killer Michael Gargiulo, according to People. Gargiulo is charged with 2 counts of murder in connection of the death of 2 women, one being Kutcher's friend, Ashley Ellerin. Ellerin had planned to attend a post-Grammy party with Kutcher on the evening of February 21st, 2001, but was unable to attend due to being murdered. At the time, Kutcher told police that he peered through a front window and saw what he believed were red wine stains on the floor. So, geez Louise, down on my knees, I just want to say this is not the freaking Ashton Kutcher I freaking know.
Yeah, agreed. And I feel as if there might not be a greater freaking Kutzner fan than freaking myself.
Yeah.
I'm such a freaking fan of freaking Ashton Kutcher, all the way from freaking when he did the freaking That 70s Show. He played the freaking another freaking dumbass little foreign exchange student kid.
Yeah, it's great as that.
Yeah, it's freaking hilarious. He's just a freaking guy, can't speak a freaking lick of English. Looks a little bit like freaking Sunjay. Might even be freaking based on Sunjay. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it probably is freaking based on Sunjay. So let's do a little roundtable discussion because we are big freaking fans of Ashton Kutcher here. Taddea Risher, would you take the stand in defense of freaking Ashton Kutcher, who was in hilarious prank TV shows called what was it called?
The Jamie Kennedy Experience.
Yeah, and on freaking MTV and VH1 on both those channels, and then he was also on some Dude, Where's My Freaking Car, and movies like that. He's freaking absolutely freaking hilarious, and I know he didn't freaking do it. I know he didn't kill Ellerin.
Yeah. You know what? I would defend him, and I'll tell you why. It's because I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna get him off for murdering this young girl. Rest in peace. And as soon as I get him off for murder, his freaking wife is gonna fall in love with me, Mila Kunis, and we're gonna get married.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't make any sense. If that's the case, you should want him in jail so that you can have your freaking shot.
Well, no, because I'll look like the good guy if I get him off. And she'll be like, "Oh, thank you so much for saving them." Like,
so your idea is you get freaking Kutzner off, and then freaking Kunis freaking gets you off.
That's 100% exactly what I mean. Thank you.
And for Uyghurs and Tweakers out there who haven't seen Mija Kunis, she is so freaking hot and freaking sexy. She's been in a lot of movies. Most of them are my favorite, and I'd love to see more of her. And maybe in some movie with some nude scenes in it.
Well, hold on. That's my wife you're talking about. That's my future wife. So
got it. Yeah.
What is her name? Freaking Kunis.
Mijikumi, and she's not tall, but she's not short. Doug Jordan, would you take the stand for character witness for freaking Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah, so he's not even on freaking trial. He's just testifying that the other guy probably freaking killed her.
All right, hold the freaking phone. We just lost freaking Taddea freaking Risher.
Where'd he go?
What did he freaking die?
Okay, for Weakers and Tweakers out there, I need to tell you what was going on. Taddea freaking Risher is homeless right now, as he said, living under a freaking bridge. And he went to a freaking YMCA to record that phone call. And once at the YMCA, he linked up with Satellite New York. For Weekend and Tweakers out there that know what goes on at those old YMCA's down in dirty cities. Yeah, you freaking guessed it. It's basically like a freaking pool hall for freaking illicit sexual gay activity.
Yeah. It's basically another freaking. You basically just swapped freaking sex dungeons. This one's a little bit more in his freaking price range. Yeah. Thanks, Doug.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks to freaking Doug. He is catching the drugs and the drabs and the freaking. He is dragging the bottom of the freaking sea to get sex anywhere he can, because it's the only thing that'll keep his freaking cancer at bay. Last week, authorities in Georgia were investigating a Piggly Wiggly after a body was found in the freezer, according to Fox News. The body belonged to 51-year-old Piggly Wiggly employee Larry Long, II. Surveillance footage showed Long entering the freezer, and an hour later, the body was found by a coworker. According to the local coroner, the cause of death was cardiac arrest. Foul play was not suspected. So, my first, honestly, when I read that, my first freaking thought, Kutcher did it again.
Yeah, Kutcher is freaking strikes again, and if he didn't, then I gotta tell you, this is another freaking non-story. This is a story about a guy walking into a freezer and then he died, and nobody thinks anything was up with it, and that doesn't make for a good freaking story. It's not freaking good radio. Unless, freaking twist, spoiler alert, freaking Kutzner has already freaking broken out of freaking prison, and he's freaking continuing to freaking kill.
Yeah, that's true. Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, this has been another freaking episode of freaking Our Week in Review. I am freaking Taylor, the freaking Sandman freaking Laughlin. With me as always is freaking Sandy, the Sandman freaking Farkas, and we got freaking Doug Jordan back from his freaking sex fantasy tour. Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, thank you so much for freaking listening. We are now available on freaking YouTube, Stitcher, actually we're not on freaking Stitcher. We're on freaking, what was the one that I freaking said?
Spotify,
freaking Google Play, and Jeez Louise Down to My Names was still on freaking SoundCloud and iTunes. You are also listening to freaking, Jeez Louise Down to My Names.
What about YouTube? You didn't say YouTube.
I did say freaking
YouTube. Did. He absolutely freaking did say YouTube.
No, he said Stitcher, and then he said...
He led with freaking YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's a big one.
Check the freaking tape.
It's a big freaking behemoth. Jeez Louise, if we can get somebody listening to those tapes so we can get that played back, that would be wonderful. Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, we love you so much, and we'll see you freaking next week.
So, Doug, in all honesty, how was your freaking vacation?
We had a good time.
Doug, now that we're off the freaking air, can you please tell me did you go all the way with freaking Sanjay?
No, I didn't go all the way with freaking Sanjay. He's just my freaking friend.
Did you guys have fooled around at least a freaking little bit? But we're off the air, Doug. So just completely.
No, we haven't fooled around a little bit. I don't know why you guys keep freaking making this crap up every freaking week.
Yeah, it's excellent.
You at least freaking kissed him or sucked him.
No,
or he sucked you, or
no.
Doug, it's not. The thing about it is, we're still gonna freaking, it's not a freaking huge deal.
Yeah, it's not a big freaking